The Lord has placed on my heart to share with you the facts in my healing testimony about mental illness. Mental illness is real. It is not a spiritual problem. I'm here to tell you that you can walk with God and have a mental illness diagnosis. 1 in 4 adults in America have a mental illness. Half of all the people with a mental illness have a substance abuse issue. When a person has both a substance abuse disorder and a mental health disorder, they are living with what is called a dual diagnosis. About 60% of those with a dual diagnosis do not seek out treatment for either the addiction or the mental illness, and only 5% of those with a dual diagnosis receive treatment for both. This little girl is 10 years old. Many mental illnesses are displayed between the ages of 8 and 10 years old. This was the same age that I began to have eating disorder issues. Through an abusive marriage of 23 years, I was diagnosed with over 10 different mental illnesses, and I was taking 22 pills a day for my mental illnesses. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, seasonal affective disorder, borderline personality disorder, eating disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, self-harm disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. During those dark days, I attempted to commit suicide twice, and I cut myself 3 to 4 times a day, and I was hospitalized about every 3 months. All the while, my ex-husband was telling me my life was not worth living. A person with anxiety disorder responds to certain objects or situations with fear and dread, as well as with physical signs of anxiety or panic, such as a rapid heartbeat and sweating. Kinds of anxiety disorders are specific phobia disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, social anxiety disorder. Mood disorders involve persistent feelings of sadness or periods of feeling overly happy and feelings of anxiety, irritability, and agitation. Kinds of mood disorders are major depressive disorder and bipolar disorder. Psychotic disorders involve distorted awareness and thinking. Hallucinations and delusions are very common with this illness. Hallucinations is seeing or hearing things that are not real. Delusions are believing something that is not true. Kinds of psychotic disorders are schizophrenia and schizoaffective disorder. Personality disorders involve having extreme and inflexible personality traits that cause problems in work, school, or social relationships. Kinds of personality disorders are paranoid personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. Behavioral or conduct disorders are a pattern of hostile, aggressive, or disruptive behaviors, which include harming or threatening themselves, others, and pets, damaging of property, lying or stealing, smoking, drinking, and drug use. Behavioral disorders include tantrums and arguments and constant hostility towards authoritative figures. Kinds of behavioral disorders are ADHD, intermittent explosive disorder, and oppositional defiant disorder. After my first marriage ended because of the severe abuse, I had nowhere to turn to but to God, and God healed me from many of my mental illnesses. Through the intervention of the Lord in my life, I have not tried to commit suicide in 10 years, and I have not hurt my body in 10 years, and have not been hospitalized in 5 years. I went from taking 22 pills a day to taking 6 pills a day, and eventually down to 2 pills a day. In the summer of 2015, God had called me to a day of prayer and fasting. During that time, God revealed to me that He was healing me and I was to come off all of my psych meds. But God showed His strength and continues to show His power in my life. So I became stronger and stronger in Him, even through the disorders and without any medication. Today I'm here to tell you that you can walk with God in the midst of a mental illness. The power of God will enable you to walk with God and work through your mental illness. But many people need to take medication for a lifetime, and I plead with you, never, never, never come off your medication without the healing from God and the approval of your doctor. 20% of teens have a mental illness condition. 50% of all mental illness begins by the age of 14. 50% of students with a mental illness drop out of school. 10 million adults have mental health and addiction disorders. 26% of them are homeless, and 24% of them are in prison. 90% of all suicides are from a person with a mental illness. 60% of adults with a mental illness are not receiving treatment. Half of all those who commit domestic violence acts have a mental illness. And if you are a victim of a domestic violence, you are 3 times more likely to develop a mental illness. About 60% of believers in the church have a mental illness diagnosis. But only 25% of believers with a mental illness diagnosis are actually faithful and going to church. We all know someone with a mental illness. Why should we care? We should care because Jesus cares. Jesus cares about people who are hurting, and Jesus is the hope to cope. Everyone needs to be educated on mental illness because even if one does not have the illness, it affects everyone. And God can use you in a powerful way to minister to the broken. We need to stop the stigma in the church. Stigma causes the person with mental illness to have shame, to blame themselves, to feel hopeless, to have distress, and to be reluctant to seek help. What can the church do? Get educated. Learn how to speak and minister to the mentally ill. Have compassion. Realize that suicide is not selfishness. It is a cry for help. And Jesus ministered to all, and so should we. And give support. Be able to talk and pray with the mentally ill. Keep your eyes open to those in need. Warning signs. Feeling very sad or withdrawn for several weeks, trying to harm or kill oneself, or making plans to do so. Out of control, risk-taking behaviors that cause harm to self or others. Sudden overwhelming fear for no reason, sometimes with a racing heartbeat, physical discomfort, or fast breathing, and eating issues of eating too little or too much. And severe mood swings that can cause problems in relationships. As a church, we need to be educated about mental health so we can cope more effectively in ministering to those with mental health conditions. The church needs to be a place of help and healing, but mental illness is not an excuse to sin. And sin does not mean one has a mental illness. It is not okay to be disrespectful or abusive to others just because you have a mental illness. Mental illness is real. It is not a spiritual problem. But I am here to tell you, you can walk with God and have a mental illness diagnosis. And the church can be a support to you. We need to work together and show the love of Jesus. Prayer and laying hands on the mentally ill is essential. God has healed me from so much mental illness. The answer to healing is a relationship in Jesus Christ. And Jesus is the hope to cope.
And God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me, and He will be my guide, hold me closely to His side. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a way. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to His side. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a way. By a roadway in the wilderness, He'll lead me. And rivers in the desert will I see. Heaven and earth will fade, but His word will still remain. That's right. And He will do something new today. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to His side. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a way. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to His side. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a way. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a way. Yes, He will. He will make a way.